welcome to Learning Leaders Spotlight, the podcast where we interview the learning leaders of today to help prepare the learning leaders of tomorrow. I'm your host, Leanne Langford, the president of Training Pros. At Training Pros, we like to say, when you have more projects than people, let us find the consultant to help you start your project with confidence. We provide contract L&D staffing at Training Pros. Now, I would like to introduce my guest. My guest is Clarissa Mitchell. She's the director of Talent Management at Edmentum. She is someone I have known for many years. I hate to admit it, but we have worked together in several different companies. And welcome, Clarissa. I'm so happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Yes. So my first question for you is if you could just give like a 60-second overview of who you are and what you do.
Yes, as you said, Director of Talent Management, I'm responsible for ensuring that all the organization has positive talent health. And what does that mean? It means that I make sure along with my team that we have successors that will be able to ready flow into any leadership position that is vacated so we can keep our talent inside. So that's the biggest thing that I do in talent management. And I'm also responsible for the culture of the company and making sure that we create an environment where everyone is able to contribute. And that means training and development, learning and development, right? That means that we set people up for success and give them the tools that they need. And so I think through all of my career, no matter what I've done, it's always been about developing people to be the best that they can be.
That is a big responsibility. You've been doing a big deal. Preparing the next generation of people to be ready to step in is huge.
Yes.
So what initially drew you to the learning and development field?
Oh, wow. I think my passion for developing people for their careers actually started when I was in college. I was a peer career counselor advisor with the University of South Carolina. And I worked alongside a wonderful woman named Carol Lowes. She was my mentor then. And all of these years later, she is still my mentor. And in that particular role, she taught me so much about developing people, so much that especially we were talking to students at that time, but so much of what they needed for their early careers, for their success. And then we also had our alumni to come back as they were graduating with their graduate degrees and putting them through interviewing skills and resume writing and the different workshops for careers. And I get the bug. And all of my career since then have been focused on developing people. And it's not just in careers, but it's in life as well. And so I love that part of it, that people want to come to me. They seek me out as a career advisor inside the company or outside the company. So really enjoy that.
I have noticed a trend while I do this podcast in that once we get to learning and development, we stay. Nobody ever leaves.
Yes, I haven't left in a long time. I've been here and it has been wonderful.
It's great. What are the most impactful changes you've seen over the last 5 years in learning and development?
Um, I think it would be the biggest push to e-learning. When I started, again, I'm dating myself, but when I started, everything was all by PowerPoint, all in the classroom. People had to travel. And so actually one of my first large jobs working for a Fortune 100 company and training, one of the business case was we need to get our salespeople off the road. They're traveling way too much, and our travel IT budget is way out of whack. And so hiring me to make sure that they didn't have to travel. So I went into this company as a contractor, but put all of the product training and the sales training into e-learning and building that out. That took about a year worth of that. And we kept adding on. And then, of course, they hired me, which is great, right? They hired me full time. But that is one of the biggest things that I've seen is e-learning. I would also say that, of course, it's the self-paced. And lately, the last two companies that I've been with, including my current company, is all about career frameworks. And career frameworks allows the employees to understand, has a very transparent for them to understand, where do I go next in my career? What is the next step? And what are the skills and behaviors and qualifications that I need? Before 5, 7 years ago, that we just didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about the career frameworks, and many employees just did not know a lot of the jobs that was even involved with the company. They're like, "Oh, I didn't even know this existed." So I think that transparency in career frameworks allows the employees, it's just a win, and it also allows L&D professionals to be very in tune of the career pathing and what they need to do in order to get their employees to where they need to be.
So I'm curious when you're talking about the career framework, because
Yeah.
as you said, it's just been in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I haven't worked in corporate America during that time. So the career framework, does that have to do with the specific job roles and job positions in the company, or competencies, or yes, all of this?
All of that. You hit it on right now. So it's a job architecture. It's, let's say you're coming in as an engineer one, right? They may call it something different, but the platform is engineer one, two, and three. And then you get to management. And then from manage specialist, and then you go to manager. And then from manager to senior manager, director, etc. And so having that pathway, being able to define what it is, because a lot of companies at one time did not define that, being able to also show what skills are needed, what behaviors are needed inside of that. So we all call that the ecosystem. And you may hear it call that as well, the job architecture of the career framework. That has been very exciting work that have done at my last two companies.
Wow, that's really taken the old model that I used to work in of succession planning
Mhm.
and really just put a huge bow on it to make it much more rich and better. And oh, wow.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the job levels and the naming of them, it really just takes the blinders off, because a lot of times when now even recruiters use that when they are hiring to share with people when somebody asks the question. I remember in interviews years ago, you would ask the question, well, what is the career mobility? They really didn't tell you that. They didn't have that architecture right in front of them to be able to share with that. So it's also a marketing tool for the talent acquisition. And it is now embedded in all of the talent processes that we have, whether it's performance or whether it's talent management, learning and development, all across the board. So career frameworks, ecosystems are definitely becoming much more popular. And it's something that as L&D professionals, once we understand how to navigate, that puts us even having more value to the organization.
It's it sounds like a lot of fun. I can see why you enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so that's what's been changing. Now we have to look future focused. What do you see are going to be the biggest changes to happen in the next few years moving forward in L&D?
I think the biggest one, and it goes back to the career framework because it has become so popular. And I was reading an article the other day on HR executive, and it talked about the skills based approach, right? At one time, we hired for titles. You're going to be the talent specialist or the L&D specialist or L&D manager. Uh, as we go forward, what I see is that people are going to hire for skills. It's a skills-based approach, because when you hire for skills, you're looking at the jobs, the task, the outcomes that need to be done versus hiring somebody for a title. And so with your skills can change, right? And so as your skills change, you can go from job to job, task, gigs, as they call it, mini projects in the company, and not be so focused on just the job title. We're hiring this person to do this outcome. These are the outcomes that we need. But as we can see, give you an example with AI, right? As we can see, things are changing a lot, and we need to be very agile in how we approach things. And L&D we're on the cutting edge of making sure that happens. In understanding, identifying what skills we have, identifying what skills we need, and being able to bridge that gap. And in L&D, we are our professionals. We're on the cutting edge because we're the ones that are going to make that happen.
I have been reading about the skills-based hiring quite a bit.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find so interesting about it is it's opening up the ability to hire people without regard to their formal education, which
Yes.
seemed to be such a roadblock or a hurdle for many in this world. And that it makes me happy because you can learn a lot on the job that
Yes.
is more than what you can learn in a college education.
Absolutely. You're talking about the 70-20-10 model, right? So we use that all the time in L&D. It is 70% is on the job training, right? Versus only 10%. And people don't think about you're in school for what, 4 years if you have a 4 year degree. But that's only 10%, right? Or if you did a trade or whatever that is, that's really only 10% of the formal education, whatever that is. But it is all on the job training. It's almost like getting back to apprenticeships and the internships, right? That is where the focus is going to be, is making sure that we have those skills. And another byproduct, and a wonderful byproduct of this, is it also opens up diversity, right? It opens up the diversity lens. And of course, that is one thing as in a director's role of talent management, is that's one thing that I focus on, as I said earlier, about the culture. And so diversity is very important. So I am also equally excited that we are going to a skills based approach, because I see that as a wonderful byproduct of this.
Fantastic. Yeah, that is definitely a topic I want to explore more and do some more reading on. I have Brandon Carson's book where he talks quite a bit about the skills-based economy and where we're moving. I don't know. Have you read his book?
No, I have not, but there was something else that I thought L&D played.
There it is. I have it right back there.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even see that there. But yes, when you said his name, yes, and I will, when we get off, I will send you that article in HR Executive that talks a lot about and that's pretty recent that I saw that it's a skills-based approach. But I knew my former company, that's what they started just as I was leaving. And that is something now, as I work on the career framework, that people are looking at and talking about all the time. It's all about the skills that people are bringing to the table. I think Gen Z definitely has it down pat, because that's what they're looking for.
Experience.
Yeah, it's experience. What am I going to get from this job? We're putting it in our generation, probably. It was, how high can we go? We had that ladder. There is not a ladder anymore. It's not even hung up against the wall anymore. It is all about being latticed and being flexible in what skills can you get. So that's where we are. So that's where I
Yes.
see us continuing to go.
And if you're listening at home and can't see my gray hair, I'm Gen X. So what she was talking about is Gen X was all about make money, get promoted, get a high title, make money. And we all, after decades of working at that, we realized, well, that was just stupid.
Yeah, it's what can we do? And all of the skills that I see now as I go through, I would love to be able to use those skills, because there's, in my mind, nothing of the word retirement. I don't know what that is. I just say it's a reinventing yourself, is transition, right? Where I'm definitely years away from that, but I do see all of the skills that I have. What can I do to add value in the workplace? And that is going back to my roots, right? Whenever that is helping college students and young adults to navigate their early careers. So it just never changed, right?
Oh, that would be a wonderful mission to have. And as like you, I can't picture retirement. I don't see it happening. I can see a slowdown, but
Yes.
not necessarily retirement because my purpose, I found a job that fulfills my purpose. Why would I
Yes.
give that up?
Yeah, absolutely. Your purpose doesn't change, your assignment may change, but the purpose is always the same. Someone gave me that quote the other day and I pinned it on my wall here and I'm like, oh, I love that. And it is true. Once you find your purpose and your passion, it is what gets you up in the morning, and that usually doesn't change. The assignment of where you do that may change, but the purpose doesn't.
That's a fantastic quote. I don't blame you. I keep quotes hanging up all around me too. They motivate me. Let's visit the dream world for a minute. If you had 2 times your current spending budget, what else would you do? What big project or what big initiative would you do that you haven't been able to even think about right now?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. So let me dream a bit.
Okay.
I have it. I know what I would do. The first thing is in my current role, I would get the best HCM. I'm not plugging anyone, but yes, the HCMs are where it is. So I guess if we go back to one of the questions earlier, that would definitely be a change that I have seen in the last 5 to 10 years is HCMs have become the staple of what we do in L&D and talent, right? So a great HCM system. I've worked with LMSs. I would love for the best LMS out there. Again, I'm not plugging anyone, but the best LMS I worked with out there and the best HCM they would come together and make it very holistic. Right now, I work with a company that they had both of them, but they were separate. And so we still had to do some things. So that would be if I had unlimited budget and hey, let's get these two companies together and to make sure that they were integrated.
So, and the LMS, for anyone listening who doesn't know, that's a learning management
It's a
system.
system, yes.
They've been around since the 90s, believe it or not. I worked with my first one way back then. HCM, is that a human capital
Capital
management system?
management system, yes, and that is a system that right now is so popular, I think, because they automate all of HR, right? You have your benefits and payroll and your compensation and your talent and your performance and your succession. You have and recruiting, no, let me forget that. You have them all into one, which is wonderful.
Amazing.
The best one that I've seen does not have the best LMS, the learning piece of it. And that's where I would spend my dollars to make sure that we could integrate them very well. After I got over these systems and implemented that, my next would be getting the best mentoring software. People are so hungry for mentorship. And I have used some really good mentorship software where it actually is like the dating game. It matches you to your mentor. And I found, and still is one of my mentors to this day, about 5 years ago, I found my mentor through this Mentor Connect system. And it matched us, and you actually get to look at the profiles of who you wanted to be your mentor. So I found one, I'm former military, former Army. So I found someone who is also former Army, who was outside of L&D, but into product. And we had some similar things, but we had a lot of things that were different that I was very curious about. I would do that in a heartbeat because I was working on a project and maybe a year later, and he was the person that just put the cherry and the icing on my project. And I would love to be able to have that. We're up to what, 2 or 3. My fourth one would probably be my one-on-one coaching. I would have a wonderful high potential program, what I'm doing currently right now in my role. I think that is very needed. As I started, I said, one of the things that talent management does, the essence of talent management, is to make sure that we have a great bench strength that is ready. They're ready to step up. And so I have gone into several organizations. This is my fifth org- fifth organization that I've been with that I have created high potential programs. And those high potential programs, we need funding. We need those experiences, they need to be with a one-on-one coach, an executive coach. They need the experience of being able to have great projects and external experiences that teaches them about leadership and teaches them about strategic planning and decision making. And I would invest a lot of my money into that because with the high potential program, I am very happy to say that several of those programs that I've been with, the result is people get promoted and people have been gotten promoted within the first year. So those are wonderful programs, and I would invest in the sponsorship and making sure that our leaders have those sponsors. So that's where my wish list would be the systems, mentoring, sponsorships, focuses on high potential programs.
That's a beautiful wish list. I'm so happy I asked you that question.
Yeah, and I wish that I wish that you can just grant it to me. I love that. Wish you could just grant it to me because yeah, those would be my wish list. If I go into any company, that I always ask that question: what do we have? What do you have to play with, and whatever. But I've been fortunate. If I have gone into companies that did not have them, I have been able to create those experiences without those large budgets. And it still makes the experience great. As a matter of fact, on Friday, my high potential cohort will be graduating from this program. And we had about 30% of those individuals have received promotions within the year that we started in June 1st of last year. So it's like a proud mommy moment that these individuals are graduating and they will be highlighted at our town hall meeting with it. So it's great. I'm very happy.
That's fantastic. So changing gears a little bit, because we're trying to provide information for people who are trying to move up in the learning world, where do you get your industry news?
The first one I think I mentioned earlier is the HR executive. I go there a lot. That was the one that I'm going to send you. I have forgotten after this call. It talks a lot about the skills-based approach. And then the second one is Talent Edge. His name was Brian. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Higar. And anything that you want to know in L&D, about performance, about talent. He talks about that. And routinely, he'll have someone who may have just recently got promoted, or he will highlight their careers and what they did in their careers. And so those two are my go-to. And as far as a lot of industry news as well, I'm a big proponent of Harvard Business Review. So I scan that all the time as well. But and LinkedIn is there, and I save a lot of things on LinkedIn because I want to go back to them, and it's amazing how the people who put out some of those content. Yeah, it's number one. Those would be some of the things that I would definitely say suspend, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, cruising through your favorites, looking on LinkedIn for 15 minutes a day. I would definitely say those are my go-tos.
There's a lot of good data there, and I'm definitely going to check out the Talent Edge. A lot of us say LinkedIn because it's an aggregate of what people are talking about.
It is. Save it and go back because I have had many times that I've seen something, I didn't save it, and something would come. I'm like, oh gosh, there was an article, and I can never find it. So I save it, even if I'm like, this is good. I may not use it, but at least it's saved somewhere because you just never know when you are going to be working on an L&E project or a talent or performance project, and something like that comes up. So yeah, big proponent. I just completed a project on competencies for the organization. And I remember one of the things that we started with, someone posted the 9 best competencies that you could have in talent. And We sent it to our CEO and she loved it. And of course, many iterations later, I definitely can see that one article, it was a one pager that we utilized some of that. That's like where we started, that idea started. And so you just never know where it could take you.
What would you recommend for someone who's trying to move into your role? They're working their way up. What book would you recommend that they read? What is one book?
See, I have several, but one
Oh,
book
okay, go ahead.
One book that I would read is The Talent Edge. The Talent Advantage. And it's by Jeff, let me make sure I get his name right, Lupinacci. This, he takes it from a different perspective. It's actually a a fictional novel that he actually has characters and he walks those characters through what they need in order to build a great organization, in order to build great talent and invest in that talent. To me, it's an L&D professionals must read, right? And so he walks you through what was going on in the company, what happened. They lost one of their largest client, and he was thinking it was all about the processes and the systems and the products that he had. And at the end, not to give away all the plot, but at the end, it was all about the talent. And when they found the right talent for the right position for what they were actually trying to do and to build those skills, that's where, of course, the learning and development professionals come in to build those skills. They knocked it out of the park and they completely changed the trajectory of the company. So I would definitely say his name again. It's the Talent Advantage by Jeff Lupinacci.
Thank you. So I love a good story-based business book.
Yes, it is a story. It's different because a lot of them is self-help books or they walk you through the process and then that's good. We need that. But this one, it was like you couldn't wait until, okay, he met this person at the bar and this person was saying this and this person was saying this and this is how they got together. And it was really fun to read.
Fantastic. Clarissa, I can't thank you enough for becoming a guest on our show. I've learned a really great deal of things about different parts of the HR side of learning and development. And if I've learned a lot, that means our audience is also learning a lot because everybody
Yeah.
can't know everything. You've been a wonderful guest. And as a thank you, we're going to plant 5 trees in your name. That's our charity at Training Pros. We plant trees around the world. Yeah. And today we've planted 3,500 trees and we'll do 5 more in your name. And I'll send you a certificate so you'll know where they are.
All right. Thank you so much. That is great. And I love that. I absolutely love that, and I have enjoyed always working with you. And hopefully, in the future, we can do the same.
Absolutely. I want to thank everyone for listening today to the Learning Leader Spotlight and be sure to come back next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.